That's right. Believe that. We here. Let them get at OneYoungsta, hold it down, bring that StreetGeek and NERDSoul. What is up, my people, today? Oh, yeah, coming with another wonderful episode. Of course, that's right, on screen. What are we breaking down? Cloak. NERDSoul Light is trying to get in the shot. Like, right now, we ain't vibing. So don't. What you see over here, you ain't seeing it. Alright? We're talking about Cloak and Dagger, episode 4 of season numero dos. Alright? We're getting into the good, the bad, the ugly. Well, there was no ugly, bro. Some darn good stuff. Now, before we get started, big shout out to Tim I, brand new Patreon supporter. Big shout out to him. Shout out to Thorn Crowns and Ricky Carry On. All that good stuff. Also, if you are new to the channel, big shout out to everybody who's been giving me love on the American Gods content, all the great discussion. Love y'all ambitions. It's really, really cool. You trying to shine? You want to shine? You want to shine? You want to shine? Now you can shine. Say that. Go quick. He didn't even let me do my own show. You see what I gotta deal with? He's a dude. NERDSoul Light is a diva. See, regular NERDSoul is fine. Alright? So, big shout out to all the subscribers. Big shout out to all you guys showing love. Jump in the comments, all that good stuff. Now, we got an episode to get to. I'm gonna start off with my dudes. Right? Now I know, but I know, man. I know you want to start with the funny stuff, but I want to start with my dudes. Alright, cool. So what he's saying is like, look, they went to jail. You just going. So that's what you're gonna do. You're gonna mess up. But you're going to get in my whole... This is my thing. Alright, look. As you can see. So, what he's saying is basically the precinct was... We're going to bring him on up. So, basically, what he's saying is the precinct was dope. The precinct was cool, but I didn't like the fact that they let the gang members around all those wanted posters. How you know who they got beef with? How you know what? You don't know what they might learn by your papers just hanging all over the place. You have no idea. You don't know what they're doing. You don't know who they're looking for. They might be searching for someone. You got look. If you're bringing a whole gang of people into your precinct. You know what I'm saying? Block stuff so they can't see. All right? Or put them in a holding room because, all right, look, Ty's mother was in danger only because of all them papers they had just thrown all about. Now, I know somebody's going to come to me and be like, yo, man, I'm an officer. I know what goes on in these streets. I know how it is. You're supposed to have these papers out on purpose so other officers can see. Yes, you are correct. But when you bring in a whole gang of folks that's on the wrong side of the law, maybe, just maybe, hide them pictures. Maybe it's someone that they're looking for, like today. So, look, just police, hey, look, do a better job of just hiding this stuff, okay? First off, do a better job. Now, slide out of it, because we're going to get back to the gang in a second. But I wanted to talk about the mother and son relationship that I think was hit on so well this episode. The way they were able to handle the reconnection and the fear and the kind of worry, yet pain, yet excitement. That reconnection was just done so well between both actors, well, the actor and the actress. Both of them did a wonderful job, and I just loved how it seemed natural. It seemed normal. She was so worried for him, like, why are you here? Why, you need to be gone. Your people are looking for you. You know what I'm saying? You got to get away here from here as soon as possible. And seeing him just like, Mom, I'm here to save you. I'm here to protect you. So them trying to protect each other, and it just seemed like a real moment. And it was done just so well, man. This show does extremely well. And I'm going to talk about what I think they do so well towards the end. But with that said, I love the fact that the mom is accepting but still worried. She still loves her son. We see that she's doing some research of her own that I really like. And before I go any further, in the chat and also down in the comments, let me know what you think she's working on. Because I think she's working on more or actually something else than Tyrone. I think she might be working on something deeper with a systemic issue with the police department and Roxanne in tandem. Because I'm trying to wonder what she voted nay to. So I'm wondering if those files that she voted nay to had to do with something with the police or with Roxanne. Or maybe just, city politics as a whole. But I'm really glad that they brought her back. And the way they brought her back, seeing that she was working on something, that she isn't just sitting there randomly, I guess kind of just biding her time, twiddling her thumbs. She is proactive. She's doing her thing. She's got files and documents, and she's looking over stuff. So big shout out to my dudes. Super excited for her, just to have her on the show and to have her in this capacity. A mother's love, she's going to hold him down. So we gonna slide it. Tandy. Boy. Tandy presents a very interesting problem this season. Not because she's essentially a bad person, but she's so, she's anxious. She's very full-hearted in a way, and she has a very hot head at times. And I think it's that where, well-meaning could get her into a lot of trouble in situations where she might not have all the help that she needs, or she's not as strong as she thinks she should be. And we'll touch on that when she meets Mayhem in a second. But her back and forth, once again, with Tyrone, that's something that just, it works. I think it's been working. I'm just remarkable it again, where they were talking about the darkness, holding back the anger, things like that really, really dealt with the character of Tyrone and of Tandy. Figuring out how to try to get him scared to be able to let her in. And then using that same power of hers that allowed her to sort of get in is the only way that she can use that power. That's the power she had to give up to be able to go deeper, which I thought was really, really cool. Now, big shout out to Lotus Scholar up in the chat. What's up, man? Yo, I'm digging the show. Real quick, while you're here, let me know what your favorite part of this episode was and who you think was a standout actor or actress. Who got the MVP? I'm gonna tell you who I thought shined this episode for the MVP. But I want to talk a little bit about the dark place, or the darkness, or whatever that the dimension, I guess, that that people are stuck in or lost in or transported to. We see Papa Legba down there. So we get some more voodoo, Loa, kind of lore. And I love that Papa Legba showed up differently for Tandy than she did for, of course, Mayhem, or AKA Bridget, Bad Bridget, whatever you want to call it. And I like this through line of interweaving their powers, the supernatural. It's just something that I think is a real strong suit of this show that really, really comes through. Oh, the Dark Realm. Thank you. Dark Realm, all that good stuff. It really provides an extra layer, extra dimension to the show that I think comes through in a very, very real way that matters a whole lot. On top of Papa Legba, letting her know that to be able to go deeper, to be able to see more, to be able to go further, you have to give something up. Because of course you have these situations when you're dealing with the supernatural, you're going to have to give something up. You can't just do whatever you want. You have to give to get. And her being able to look through and see her own life was something that was incredible. Immensely incredible, especially when we get to the record store. Her being able to play back the moments in her life, see those moments attached to music, attached to an audio response, attached to an audio memory, a time and place in her life. The way they shot it, the way they represented it, it's smart. This show is, you know what? All right, Freeform. I'm gonna go and say this. Freeform is written off by a lot of people by just a channel for like YA teens. It's just some teeny bopper stuff. But between Grownish, between Bold Type, between Cloak and Dagger, there's some interesting filmmaking going on the sneak tip that I think a lot of people aren't recognizing because it's Freeform. I think that's the best way to say it. I think they're discounting it. They're not really giving it the proper eye or critical reception because it's Freeform. Now, Lotus Scholar says you're going to lose some things along the path. And he says, I want to give my MVP to Ty's mom. You know what? Yes. Matter of fact, we'll come back in a second, but we'll come back to that. But yes, my MVP goes to mom too. Definitely. As you can hear, NERDSoul Light, the MVP goes to my Dukes. Wow, she really crushed it. But back on In the Dark Realm, seeing those moments play back through the music, seeing Mayhem being lost there and not being able to get through because she's not a fully realized person, someone without her whole soul, not being able to go forward, it's just something that really, really makes a difference. And I think it really matters in the context of their lives as characters and of the show. It really shines, man. It really, really does. And those moments with this show do so much with character that I think a lot of other things are not doing, whether it's a drama or, whatever. They're doing a lot of stuff with Tandy and Tyrone that really connects us to them. Even with Bridget too, man. Old girl is acting her butt off. But moving on, seeing that, Mayhem still looking for Fuchs, still trying to find him, seeing the room where all the cloaks are, knowing that someone who is here is scared and knowing that Tandy knows who it is. It's just something that we're like, yeah, we're finally getting there. We finally know what's up. We know he's there. I know, and all that good stuff. And seeing where she finally catches up to him and attempts to kill him while they're in the Dark Realm just shows how serious Mayhem is. She means business and she's coming for your dome piece. Now, slide that to the side because, like you said, Lotus Scholar, my Dukes, the MVP. I want to talk about this relationship when we get back to being on the run from the gang. The thing that I think this episode showed on the sneak tip that a lot of people didn't catch, didn't see, or didn't remark upon on first glance is that this whole episode, Ty operated at a very high level without his powers. Very high level. Kept him and his mama safe without powers. Now, that being said, the subtle nuance in the facial expressions, the body language between herself and Ty, my Dukes gets the MVP. Easy. My Dukes MVP. Because when the police came, her reaction to knowing that they were on the way, when they got there, when they were pulling her out, when she was outside, there's so much that, it's just so much that could have been left on the table with the emotion, but she brought it. And I think that she really became the glue on the life and the character of your boy, of course, Ty, in this episode. And I got to give her the MVP for that. But before we move on, big shout out to the chat. We got Lotus Scholar, King J Dub. He's like, I'm in cheer. So what's up? What's up? Big shout out to Blurtish because this is done in NOLA. Blurtish isn't exactly in NOLA, but they're close enough. They're in Louisiana. Big shout out to Blurtish. Check out their podcast. Check out their website, Blurtish, BLERD-ISH. They're super dope. Some great brothers. Also, big shout out once again to Thought Crimes. They're super dope. And big shout out to KURO Brand that holds down the show, keeps us, fresh, fly, and classy. Check out KURO Brand. That's KURO Brand. You know how to spell brand. If you don't know how to spell brand, then you got to do your homework. So, we got my Dukes out the way. We got your boy Ty out the way. We got Tandy out the way. We even messed with Mayhem. But Bridget is a character that ends up being broken in a very real way that seems honest in this show. You see her trying to fight because she's missing a part of herself. You know what I'm saying? And just like Mayhem is missing a part of herself, she's missing something. And she's able to still try to fight and trudge through and still make a difference. You got people on the force, they ain't feeling her, they don't want her around. But she's still like, yo, I'm gonna do what I gotta do to try to make a difference, to be on this, to be on this force, to be able to make a difference not only on this force, but in this city and work together with these two kids that are trying to do something for the hood. You know what I'm saying? There's these missing girls that she's kind of fell into this situation where it's like, whoa, all these girls are going missing. We've got to do something. You know what I'm saying? And I like the fact that we're in a space where even though she feels like she's missing something, like she's broken, like she's powerless, she still knows she has to do something. And on a larger scale with this episode, and I'll get to that in a little bit, the idea of we have to do something is something that continues to, work through these episodes and something that I really, really love. Lotus Scholar said that convo about Evita and Tandy, I love. Yes. Thank you. Thank you for reminding me. I almost forgot that. My Dukes, when he brought up Tandy, she was like, is that little blonde girl? And he was like, nah, that's Tandy. She's someone else or whatever. And she was like, I don't like her. She was like, my badge came up missing. And he was like, oh, nah, she's like, no, nah, boy. I know. I mama knows. I know where my badge was, and I know where she was, and I know my badge was missing. All right. And matter of fact, let's be for real. You know how badges are. She could have had some security pull badge swipes and be like, I was at home when this happened. See what I'm saying? NERDSoul know what you're talking about. My badge was missing. How it gets swiped at the job. So look, you know, old girl lying. So I ain't even trying to hear that. I ain't trying to go there. Oh man, Lo is funny. Lo says she's missing her mayhem mojo. True that. King J Dub says something tells me that Connor is backing back with powers, judgment for Tandy, breaking the rules. Yeah, I definitely see something going on with Connors. It's going to be otherworldly. I think him being in the dark realm for so long is going to change him on a fundamental level. And I think we have yet to see how bad it's going to be. Because I was conversing with a young lady on Twitter. I cannot remember her name. I'll see if I can pull it up now. But she was talking about, how should I say? She was talking about mayhem and the essence of being kind of like the big bad this season. And I was saying, you know what? I'm not sure if Mayhem is the big bad this season. I think she's a red herring and we're going to get someone else or something else. And Connor's now being back, not being able to rectify or reconcile his situation, I think we're going to end up with someone who is a big bad in his own right and ends up taking over of course, you know, your girl Mayhem, she gonna be out of here. It's gonna be Connors all day. You know what I'm saying? It's gonna be a Connors world. Now, big shout out to the story of the story of the transatlantic slave trade, the vampires, just continuing to add more layers to this show, more wonderful access to history in this show, and providing a deeper message in the show, which I really, really love. And it just really comes through, and it makes a difference. So, you know what? I love the show for doing it. I really do. The show comes through, and the show is great in that regard of being able to just dive deeper. Because he could have just sat there and talked about, you know, the girls, or they didn't even have to but have the story about the vampires. But they provided context in that duality between the missing girls now and then the missing girls or missing or forgotten girls then, which is great. So let's see if I can bring up. I can't find the young lady who I was talking to, but she was really talking about, like, you know, the darkness, learning to embrace the darkness, and who the big bad was going to be. And I'm thinking Connors he's gonna come for that spot. He coming for that top spot. Yeah, King J Dub says Mayhem seems to be an anti-hero. And yeah, I think that's what's going to happen. I think we're going to find a way to get them to merge back together as one character. And I think that'll be great too. The last thing that I think I'll regard on or remark upon is that this show, in the very beginning, in like the first 10 minutes, showed how messed up our justice system is, and showed the cog in the wheel structure of being able to bring justice or help people. You have these girls that have obviously been taken out of this situation. You got the guys there that have been holding them against their will. They're sex slaves or human trafficking. Easy to tell that. Slam dunk, right? Slam dunk for you, slam dunk for me. And then somehow they're being prosecuted and jailed because they were slaves? It's like, what? So these girls were kidnapped, enslaved, and now they still got to go to jail. And it's like, I like them putting that on Front Street, you know, forcing us to talk about it, forcing us to deal with it, forcing us to see it. Because I think as a society, sometimes we forget in the rigmarole, regular people are getting chewed up in the system. Regular people that don't have a representation, regular people that don't have someone to fight for them. And I think having these heroes fighting for these girls, girls just like the girls overseas that have gone missing every single day, girls here that go missing every single day, children that have crossed the border and have gone missing, and we have not found them girls in DC that have gone, girls in Chicago that have gone missing, tons of girls everywhere, and no one seems to be fighting for them. And at least in this show, as a fiction, we can have someone truly fighting for them. And I love that this show is doing that. It is, wow, it's amazing to see that. It's a shame that it takes a show on Freeform to do that when you think about Freeform as a channel. But I am so glad we're getting it. And maybe Cloak and Dagger is a perfect show to do it due to the ages of our protagonists. Yeah, I'll leave it there. I think I'll leave it there, and I'll get some of you guys MVPs. Big shout to King J Dub. Who is your MVP for this episode? You know, Lotus Scholar and I, we're looking at Ma Dukes. We think Ma Dukes brought it home, but let us know who you think the MVP of this episode was. I got one more thing to jump on, but then I will, you know, come back to this real quick. King J Dub said pimps need to get more jail time. They get off way too easy. And Lotus Scholar said that place is an NO. Word. Last thing I want to talk about is the cops. And this idea that one good cop is able to, you know how they say, oh, well, you know, I can just go in there and I can make a change and I can fix everything. And you see Bridget, you know, she talks on the phone. She's like, okay, cool, I'll bring the cops. and she's like, everything's gonna be cool. And you know, she comes out, and you see the cops all weapons trained and weapons drawn. They got like the whole SWAT team out there. So you see what she's dealing with, and what she has to compete with, and what she has to compare with, and how much it's affecting her in a very, very real way, and how in turn that's affecting the citizens of that city in a very real way. So yeah, just props to the writing on this episode. Dug it, dig it. The way they use the records, the way they use the mother-son time, the way they dealt with the justice system being in that, just in processing, in this process of just taking regular everyday people and throwing through this meat grinder of a precinct, dealing with, oh, I can make a difference because I'm one good cop. And it's like, but you ain't, one good cop is not going to change the mentality of policing. And I think that's something that we haven't realized. You know, you can have 2, 3, 4, 5, 18 good cops, but the mentality of policing is something that they're not going to be able to break. I don't think anytime soon. But guys, with that said, thank you for hanging out with me. Thank you for checking this out. Of course, hit that thumbs up. Now you can hit that thumbs down. If you hit that thumbs down, I'm going to send comments after you. I'm just saying, I'm going to send comments after you. So you can check me out at ThatNERDSoul. That's ThatNERDSoul. If this is your first time watching, feel free to subscribe to a brother. If you don't subscribe, look, look, I'm going to see you, all right, in the dark run. That's all I'm saying. I'm all up on you. Now, all the people that hit me up on social, feel free to holler at me anytime. We can talk Wu-Tang, we can talk Cloak and Dagger, we can talk X-Men, or we can talk Avengers in-game, because I'll be saying that very soon. So, guys, until next time, thank you for hollering at me. Thank you for rolling through to the chat. King J Dub, big shout out to you. Of course, Load the Scholar, thank you for coming through. Folks that normally come through, I don't know if they're in there or not, but Alan Lewis, big shout out to you. Little Miss Chocolate, big shout out to you. And of course, my newest Patreon supporter, Tim I, nice to see you. Thanks for rolling through and supporting your boy, NERDSoul. If you want to be like your boy, Tim, feel free to go on over to Patreon. All right, put $1 in the bucket. All right, just $1. All right, well, actually, we prefer the kind that folds. But I'm just saying, feel free to put $1 in the bucket. But until next time, next week, all right, we're going to be breaking down that Cloak and Dagger. Now, real quick before I bounce, if you're interested in Star Trek Discovery, I'm going to be doing a live stream tonight of Star Trek Discovery, the season finale. Yo, Star Trek has been flamed since the first episode, but I'm just saying, I'll be back tonight, 9 PST. Check me out. So, till next time, us you would just say thank you for watching. And next week, keep your eyes open, because we don't know what Connor's going to do. So, until the next time in NO, peace, because we ain't playing.